good news. Who's got good news to share or some appreciation to show? Who wants to go first? Good news, appreciation, Carrie?
I can go. Yeah. Just a shout out to Dakota. She's spearheading some awesome things for our community this fall. And I just appreciate that she is always saying yes to our new ideas and making things happen. So thanks, Dakota.
Love it. Love it. Other good news to share. Other good news to share. Come on.
I might be jumping the gun here, but I want to thank Katie Briggs because she's a rock star and she's going to be our productivity coach for both of our market centers. And she is going to help us all level up what we do. So
you are jumping the gun, Leslie.
Sorry, that's my best news. Oh, wait, Emily has one.
I went under contract.
Yay. Good job. We're going to talk about Katie, our new productivity coach soon. And so expect an email from me on that. And we're very excited about that. Let's move on to some events, training, and announcements. Today, after this Zoom, Top of the Rockies is having their team meeting in person, which is why we got a bunch of people sitting in that room. And Mountain Properties has their team meeting at 11 o'clock this morning in Edwards and online for Zoom. A couple other save the dates. On Thursday, Frisco is a KW Top of the Rockies is doing their music and mingle for good. That's in Frisco outside on the front walk. And don't miss that. We have our regional rally coming up on Monday. It's at 11 a.m. and I'm going to be interviewing Kimber Walton. Kimber Walton is an amazing marketer. And the reason I invited Kimber Walton to be on the KW Colorado Regional Rally is because when we looked at the data of most highly rated mega agent camp events, Kimber's event at Mega Agent Camp was most highly rated. So I asked her to come to the KW Colorado Regional Rally and talk to us about marketing. She's out of, I think, Salt Lake City, Utah. So don't miss Monday, 11 a.m. on Zoom, the KW Regional Rally with Kimber Walton. Fast Track Coaching. We've got, as you know, Fast Track Coaching coming to you. Now listen, as I say this, the event is complimentary for all of our agents at Top of the Rockies and Mountain Properties. And we are looking for a donation suggested of $50 for Laura Cardin's Kids Scholarship Fund. Remember, Laura lost her husband tragically last month. And most importantly, regarding your personal real estate business, on Wednesdays, we're going to be talking about how to take more listings now. And on Thursdays, and this all starts next week, how to convert sellers into closings. These two topics are absolutely essential. And if the money's a problem, talk to your team leader or your MCA and we'll work that out. But we want to make sure that you take more listings and get more listings sold because that's the name of the game in real estate. Don't miss this opportunity. By the way, if you signed up individually for this class, it would be $1,500. So I think we would all agree that free-ish, and by ish, I mean make a little donation, which for a good cause. Free is pretty awesome. On Sunday, the 21st of September in Vail, we've got Her Best Life with Wendy Papazan at the Height. That's part of our Rocky Mountain Summit event. In the afternoon, on that same day at 1 o'clock, we have the Luxury Summit and we have the Rocky Mountain Summit starting the next day. All things Rocky Mountain Summit can be found at kwrockymountainsummit.com. And we've got a ton of us going there. By the way, on Tuesday, after the summit is over at noon, we've got lunch planned for each market center at 1 p.m. where we'll enjoy some time together as market centers. So check your calendar and local leadership for that. A couple things I wanted to share. This is KW Mountain Properties versus KWRI, KW Colorado Region, and the Vail Board of Realtors. In this diagram or this chart that you're looking at, green is good and pink is less good. And by less good, I don't mean it's necessarily bad, but here's what I want you to note here. For the month of August, the Vail Market Center, Mountain Properties, closed 46.2% more deals than in the previous August. And year to date, that puts us up 17.4%. That's amazing. And for the month of August, volume was also up. Year to date, it's a little bit down. Listings taken, we are up year to date 40%. The board is up 13%. The region is up 10%, and KWRI is flat. So great job, Mountain Properties. For listings sold, we're up, remember, on taken 39.7. We're up 34.1 on listings sold, which means that if you want to get a listing sold, go take the listing. That's why we're doing these classes. 34.1% up year to date over last year to date. Mario, watch these mutes, please. 34.1% up listings sold compared to the Board of Realtors down 16%. So we are way outperforming Mountain Properties, the board. The region is flat. KWRI's up a little bit. Great job, KW Mountain Properties. Moving to top of the Rockies. Our sales year over year up 26% versus a board that's up 1%, versus a region that's down 5%, versus KW that's down 6%. Listings taken, we're up 9%. And the reason that's pink instead of green is because we look for 10% growth as a minimum. So 10% gets you green. Don't worry about the colors. Don't judge me. 9% up for listings taken versus the board, up 4%, versus the region, up 10%, versus Keller flat. Listings sold, we're up 32.4%. The board's up 1%. The region is flat and KWRI is up 6%. So what's the story behind all this? Both market centers are greatly outperforming their boards. And in most areas, they're outperforming their region, outperforming the company, which is generally reflective of what's happening in the industry as a whole. Mm-hmm. If I'm going on a listing appointment today, I'm going to take this data and say to my clients, hey, Keller, top of the Rockies, is up 32.4% on getting homes just like yours sold in a market that's flat. Mm-hmm. And top of the Rockies is up 34% in getting homes just like this one sold in a market that's down 16%. Give me a thumbs up if you get what I just said. Folks, if you're not using this data, you might be losing a listing opportunity to somebody who has something good to brag about how they're doing compared to the board. I'll send these docs, I'll send this PowerPoint out later. I want to celebrate for Summit, Bill Ryder on his first listing closed with KW. Great job, Bill. Ann Skinner, top listing dollar amount taken at 2.6 million. And Carrie George, I believe this is correct, had her top dollar closing at almost 7 million. Carrie, I can see your face here. Is that correct? Was that your best ever?
The best ever in 21 years.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Bill, Ann, and Carrie, and the rest of Ann's team for those wins. Moving on to some Vail wins. Gus had his first listing closed with KW. Magda had a top closing of her career at 3.4 million, and Brooke at 3.8 million, top listing taken. Great job on hitting some big numbers, folks. All right, moving into the meat of our day today, I'm excited to introduce Gretchen Kingma to you. Gretchen is the founder of Empowered Homes. She is a registered occupational therapist with a master's degree from St. Louis University. And she uses her expertise in occupational therapy to sell more homes. And I'm going to stop my share, Marielle, and let's spotlight me and Gretchen. Hi, Gretchen.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So, Gretchen, tell everybody about you. And by the way, you're not with KW currently.
Correct.
So
If
give us
Russ
the whole
was
thing, who
still
you
the
are, how
leader.
you got here.
Okay, so who I am. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. I am a mom to two littles. I gave a presentation a couple weeks back and I did not mention any of my family, and I left feeling so guilty that I was like, shoot, I actually have a family. So mom of two littles, expecting a third. My background's in healthcare. In 2017, I was so burnt out from the hospital and senior living setting that I met with a gentleman at church and said, you pivoted from church staff to this real estate thing. It seems to be going really well. And he's like, you got to meet this guy named Russ. He'll tell you all about it. I had no idea about recruiting. I knew nothing. Loved Russ. Russ kind of told me my story back to me. I was like, I'm an occupational therapist. And he finished my sentence and said, but you're feeling burnt out because of the bureaucracy of healthcare. And I was like, what? How do you know that? And he was
Did
like,
that really
my wife.
happen?
Yeah, I will never
That's
forget
funny.
it. I was like, this guy understands because Heather, his wife, is also an occupational therapist. So started my real estate career at Keller Williams in St. Louis under Russ's leadership, and went into this thing telling myself, I'm going to be an OT, but I'm also going to be a realtor. And the reasoning was, if you don't know anything about occupational therapists, but you probably do because one of the best hospitals is out there because of all the ski accidents. If you don't know anything about it, our job is to help people live happy, healthy, and thriving lives after a major life event. And I thought, gosh, if OTs are supposed to help people live happy, healthy, and thriving lives at home, why are we not looking at the home? And why are new construction developments in the Midwest still building with stairs and still just terrible design? And so I had this very narrow mindset that I could do both. And took me about 2 years to embrace that. I, as a new agent, went after everything because I really wanted to make a point to make it work. And I respect that you actually have to do that. Told myself I was never going to go back to that hospital setting because wiping butts day in and day out is just exhausting. And so I had a lot of intrinsic motivation and was able to replace my OT salary, which I had a master's degree for, within my first year of real estate. And so never looked back, but really didn't embrace that messaging of I'm an OT and a realtor until my dad became sick with stage 4 cancer. And I had to help my parents downsize out of necessity. So I was a little bit afraid to own that past career until I realized actually there's a whole market for this. And when people know my story, it will resonate. So that's a very roundabout way to tell you how I got here.
Yeah. How much real estate have you sold in the last year or so?
Yeah. So I was looking at y'all stats, and I think I need to come to your market where the average price point seems to be a little bit higher, but a 3 million sale is like a month or a month and a half for me. In the last year, I have sold 35 homes, and I'm tracking to hit 20 million in volume this year. I know that would be 3 homes there for St. Louis. That's around 30, 40 homes in my price point.
Yeah. And are you a solo agent, or do you have a team? What does your structure look like?
Yeah, I'm a solo agent with a one-person team. It is my mother. When my dad passed away, she retired from a 40-year-long career in hospitality management. And I told myself I'd never work with family. Russ knows I actually have a sister also in real estate. We would never work together. But my mom is my showing director and is growing into actually some supportive roles on the listing side too. So I pay her as a cost of sale, not necessarily a salary up front.
So you're a solo agent with a little bit of help is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Awesome. And just to get it out of the way, you're no longer with KW, you're with Real.
Mm-hmm.
And how long were you with KW?
8 years.
Yeah. Awesome. And for various reasons that we don't have time for today, you decided to make a switch.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So Gretchen, go back to when you first started to realize, and actually you and I had this big argument about you, marketing yourself in the real estate space as an occupational therapist. Can you go back and talk more about that? And the reason I'm asking is a lot of people that are listening right now have side hustles, or like you and me, have something that they did for a significant amount of time before real estate. And what I love about your story is that you're not only someone that used to do something else, but you're someone who's selling 35 houses a year, and a lot of it because you used to do something else.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And what I found, so the teaching and training and systems that we get at Keller, phenomenal. And I think that we don't allow ourselves to apply it to ourselves enough. And so once I realized that a contact is a contact is a contact, and I don't actually have to knock on somebody's door that has a Ring camera and I'm mortified that they're not like, no, I don't have to do that. I realized that the easiest way for me to lead generate was going to be to hang out with the people that knew and understood me and that I spoke their language. So whether you were an OT, a teacher, a firefighter, a ski instructor, like there is a whole group of people out there that understand you guys have the same language and they don't want to be homeless either. And so that was like the most encouraging route for me. And I thought I'll just take all these principles I'm learning at Keller and apply it to the people I'm already hanging out with. And so instead of a first-time homebuyer seminar, I reversed and said, okay, who do I want to serve? Well, I feel really comfortable with that Gen X generation because that's who I was serving in the hospital. Their kids are about my age, maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. But okay.
That's kind of offensive, Gretchen. I mean,
okay, the baby boomers, boomers.
Thank you.
Because I'm an elder millennial. And so the eldest adult daughter of a baby boomer is somebody that I resonate with. So I just reverse engineered, who do I want to work with? Who is my ideal client? That is my avatar. I'm going to take all of these principles and apply it to this past experience that I have. So instead of a first-time homebuyer seminar, I do helping mom and dad decide where to go next. I don't even have to do a seminar for the senior. I'm talking to the eldest adult daughter because we're both alpha females that are making all the decisions for our moms and dads. And then they're going to refer me. And then maybe I'll get lucky enough to help them with their move up home. So that's how I have approached my past life. And now I do seminars in hospitals. And so a lot of my lead gen is luncheons. And I love it because they don't want to hear from you long. They just want you to bring lunch. They want you to be brief, be bright, and then be gone. And so it's perfect because we all live busy lives. So instead of, again, a downsizing seminar, I'm going to the OTs and the PTs, occupational and physical therapists and speech therapists. I'm buying them lunch and just reminding them that, hey, we speak the same language and I can help your patients after they have a major life change. So I'm applying the principles from the Red Book, from the systems that were taught at KW to the people that I already know, like, and trust and speak their language.
Did you just say be brief, be bright, and be gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
You would.
So you're going into hospitals, you are doing seminars for therapy staff. And what's the ROI on that?
Yeah. So when when I first started doing it, I was not tracking my ROI. And I had a coach ask me, like, well, have you gotten anything? So when I sat down and looked that, oh my gosh, McAllister's is not that expensive. And it's kind of good, like lemonade tea. You get a sandwich, you get chips, you get a cookie, the whole thing. I'm not spending more than $300 to buy 20, 25 people lunch, and I have never done a seminar where I didn't get a lead. Now, I might not have closed every single lead, but I'm getting a connection every single time. So a database ad, I should know, and I will be challenged to go back and look at how many I've actually closed, but I was just looking at lead generation. And I've never done a seminar where I haven't had a therapist reach out and connect me to a recent discharged family or a current hospitalized patient.
I love that. So, talk a little bit about how this works with your social media game.
So as I mentioned, I was a little bit of, well, not a little, I was a lot a bit ashamed because we thrive in the roles that we have before we leave. And so I got this master's degree that cost me 6 figures of debt, just being completely frank. My husband is a CFO by trade. And I go and I tell him, I think I'm going to quit being an OT. And he's like, excuse me? So that was a lot of the intrinsic motivation. I had to make this thing work, but I was really embarrassed to tell people and market myself as the teacher, the teacher realtor, the ski instructor realtor, the OT. Like, I just wanted people to think of me as the OT. I worked really hard for this degree. And so I didn't market myself until my dad got sick. In the year 2022, I quit all real estate work, and I was a primary caregiver for my dad. And I did one thing only: post on social media. My counselor tells me it was an unhealthy escape. I think it was a genius business move. It was unintentional, but I realized from doing that, I'm sitting bedside with my dying dad, just kind of telling people the story. And it was kind of a journal outlet for me, but it was a huge eye opener in 2023. He passed away in November 2023. I make my post, I am back. I'm here to serve you. Like, we are open for business. I turned the open sign back on, and I was able to sell 13 million after zero in 2022. And so that is when I started taking social media super seriously and realizing that I don't have to talk to everyone. I just have to talk to one person. And when I do talk to that one person, business takes off. And so that's my social media approach. I see a question: would this method work for serious hobbies as well? Absolutely, 100%. I'm thinking my CrossFit community. So there's a gentleman here in St. Louis. I don't know his handle, but you should look him up. Zach Fagus gets all of his business from his gym buddies, and his posts are so not me. And my posts are so not him, but I respect the heck out of him. And we go get lunch and talk about lead generation, but his whole business was built off of his gym, going to the gym. He doesn't even own the gym. He just shows up to work out at the gym. So yes, absolutely. It can go for any hobby. And my biggest takeaway over the last couple of years when being super strategic, so dialed in, is that it's okay to have less eyes on your content. It's okay to have less people on your email list. When you are so clear about who you want to work with and your messaging gets across to them, it just works. Like, I don't even know how else to put it. It just works.
Can you say a little bit more about that? Because I think most people in our business, they think, how broadly can I go in order to get the most ears, so that the most ears translate into the most business? But you're kind of saying that's not the way to think about this, right?
Absolutely. So what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. There's an author of a book, Donald Miller, Story Brand. And you've probably heard of it. It's a great one, but he has a quote in there that when you speak to many, you sell to none, but when you sell to one, you speak to many. And that's been my experience through and through. And if I'm completely honest, go to my social media right now. I just hired some VA help, and it's bad. It's not going well. And so I'm going to have to take that back, because nobody can tell your story like you. And so while there are ways to systematize and outsource things in our business, it can't be that. And so I'm learning that the hard way. And there's random posts about things to do in St. Louis. I'm not a St. Louis influencer. I'm the senior real estate lady that specializes in accessibility. So I'm learning that the hard way myself, real time. And yes, thank you, Carrie. No one can tell your story but you. And also, you have to be unashamedly telling that story. I gave Russ this example the other day, but my best metaphor for social media, no matter what platform you are on, is an experience we just had with my 6-year-old. He is addicted to TV. My husband put some blockers on TV, like all the passwords, so that he couldn't get on. And he's watching good old fashioned PBS, freaks out, yells like bloody murder. I go see what's wrong. He says, the TV's broken. He can't fast forward through the commercial. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, this is just TV. And so it clicked so hard to me as a content creator for my business that consumers are the same way for all content, all marketing. We don't want to see a commercial. We want to know the whole story. So if you're going to double down on CrossFit, you're going to tell the story about the friend you made at CrossFit and the amazing garage you found them in the first home that they bought, so they can put their, clearly I don't do CrossFit, but like they can put their tires to flip in the garage or their ropes to do, but like you're going to just tell that story and not hold a key at the title company and say, she said yes to the address, because the consumer does not want to hear the commercial. They want to know the story. And that is how this becomes possible for any side hustle, any past experience.
Yeah. So if and I think you'll put your handles in the chat for us eventually, but if someone were to go to your social media right now, like what are they going to see that is different from the key, she said yes to, they said yes to the address, or just sold, or whatever stuff that we all do? What are they going to see different?
Yeah, so they're going to see vulnerability. My husband hates social media, and there is like a point of contention in our marriage. And so if you do this, you must track your numbers. And so when I started seeing actual leads come from Instagram, I just, like, anytime my husband's like, I cannot believe you posted that, I have to show him, look, this is how much money I made making this reel. And it sounds so silly, but it is my lead generation. I am not calling people. I'm not checking in on my sphere. Instead, I'm going to their Facebook, their Instagram, and commenting on things that they're posting because they've already raised their hand and said it's important to them. And so you're not going to just give it a heart or a like and say, love that dress. You're going to say, Carrie, I love those sneakers you're working out in. Where did you get them? What brand is that? And leave a question, because when people are scrolling, I mean, it is sick. Social media is sick. If you watch The Social Dilemma, it's a sick game, but they're going to respond to you when you ask a question. They're going to see all the hearts, all the likes, but they're going to see your question and they're going to respond. And so what's different about my social media is that I'm very deliberate about responding every single comment. You can test it out, go comment on any of my posts. I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to send you a DM. When you follow me, I'm going to send a DM. Now, it's not automated because that would look like a commercial, like a business, but I do have a couple templates saved where I'll copy and paste. Say, Carrie, thank you so much for the following. Attention is a hot commodity today. I'm so grateful for a little bit of yours. How did you find me? And so nobody follows me that doesn't get a direct message, because this is my business. Like, I have to be talking to these people. So those are some of the things that are different. I just posted, I'm about 20 weeks pregnant and we hadn't told anyone. So like, I'm halfway there. I look like I ate too many burritos and it's just getting awkward being out and about. So like, my husband's like, we don't need to put that on social media. I'm like, I absolutely need to put that on social media because the moms at school are just staring at me. Like, it is just getting out of hand. So I just posted that recently, and I did it in a very nonchalant I have a listing coming soon, and I just walked past a mirror in the listing with my belly hanging out, and like that was the announcement. So it's authentic, but I try not to, like, my kids are on there. I don't put their first and last names. I don't try to highlight them and make them the center of the show. People know that I have kids, but it is very real, honest, vulnerable, not filtered. Like, you can tell I don't have a professional videographer. I have this tool that I got on Amazon for $8 that allows me to stick my phone up so that I can talk in the mirror where the light, or the window where the light's coming in. Don't have much fancy anything. It's just very DIY. And I think that the world craves authenticity. And so the less curated it looks, the better it does, which is why this hire that I made is not going well, because it looks very curated, very done on Canva. And that's the equivalent to holding the key at the title company. That's a commercial. So those are some of my takeaways as of late.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to do what you're doing and use a side hustle or a serious hobby or a past career to grow a niche on social media and in their business, what are some things they should immediately do? What are some practical things?
Yeah, the first and foremost thing, and I can share this with you, Russ might find it, I'm all about coming to a party not empty-handed. So I'm happy to give you this little avatar workbook that I created for a class that I did in the past. It's basically just identifying your avatar. And so first tactical thing you have to do is sit down and answer some questions about who you want to work with. Think about what your favorite transactions have been and what made them your favorite transactions. I love a right sizing or downsizing baby boomer because it yields me multiple transactions and they are so kind and it's so easy because it's my passion, not easy because it's easy. So you have to identify who that ideal client is and then build your whole GPS, your whole 411, your whole yearly plan. And this is a great time to be thinking about it as we go into business planning season around that person. So if you're telling me, let's use teachers as an example, maybe you're super passionate about educators becoming homeowners because you started your career as a teacher and you couldn't buy a house until you were the average age of a home buyer, 38, because you didn't get paid enough as an educator. So maybe you are super passionate about bringing homeownership to educators. You got to think about where teachers hang out on the weekends. You got to think about what time of day, when can they come to events, and think about doing a happy hour for them when they get out of school instead of a Saturday. No teacher wants to go to an event on a Saturday. That is like their day. So just think about who you want to work with. And then second step would be to build your entire plan around them. And then you actually get to the content. So the content creation should come last because you should be so clear about who you are, who you want to serve, and then what initiatives are going to be on your GPS or your 411 for the year, and then craft your content around that. And if I'm making it sound so easy, ask ChatGPT and be so detailed in your ask. I am an occupational therapist who has pivoted into the real estate space. I am super passionate about serving downsizing seniors, right-sizing seniors. Please help me with a message to reach the eldest adult daughter so that I can earn more referrals from people 35 to 55 introducing me to their parents. You will get great answers.
Yeah. Carrie wants to know the ratio, like on your social media, how much is business, how much is personal?
Yeah, great question. So everybody always asks, should I have 2 pages? Should I do a business page and personal page? On Instagram, I do only 1 page, and it's a pretty good mix of both. But I would say 50-50. So just looking immediately, like we did a cooking class this weekend in St. Louis. There's a place called Kitchen Conservatory, and our family knows the owner. And I did a multi-generational gift idea. So while I'm still highlighting things to do in St. Louis, I'm using keywords that are going to resonate with my target audience. So I've helped 3 multi-generational families this year alone, which, by the way, you should all be talking about multi-generational living, especially if you're in a market where cost of living is so drastic, because it will yield 3 transactions. You got 2 parties wanting to sell, and then they want to buy something together. So I helped 3 people that kind of just I say naturally. One of them was another OT who's married to a dentist, and so they were mindful about that. One is someone from college. So I say it just happened. They're all people that follow my social media. So while I'm highlighting like things to do in the community, I'm using buzzwords like multi-generational gift idea. Need something to give your mom for her birthday, do a cooking class. Go ahead.
So even your personal posts are business posts in the sense that you're doing the personal side to appeal to the people that are that are your avatar for business.
Correctamundo. Yeah. let's see if I can find another example.
Carrie also wants to know if you're only using Instagram or are you Facebooking or doing other things?
Yeah, so I am only on Instagram, but I connect my Facebook. So anything that gets posted to Instagram is on Facebook. I should be more intentional about looking at my stats for Facebook because I'm getting I just looked at it last night out of note. I just felt convicted to look at it, and I'm getting a ton of engagement on Facebook, but I'm not super intentional about it. I show up on Instagram because it's the easiest for me, and I use it for my lead generation.
Gretchen, a while ago, you were spending time on social media promoting like backyard yoga things and events like that. I'm curious, did those micro events work for you?
They did, and I love a micro event. I wanted to do that again this summer. I just didn't get my act together, but that was a great example. I have done micro events. I started a women's walking club this summer because even before I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I got to get more steps in. So I just made a graphic on Canva that was on brand with my brand. And I said, hey, ladies, like who would want to get up at 6 a.m.? So again, sandwich generation mom is my avatar. I'm not walking at 1 in the afternoon because most of my people are working. And if they're not working, they're caregiving for kids or parents. So I just put it out there, and at the highest, so we have met since May every Tuesday and Friday, never had less than 3. And then I got up to like 20 one day. And so that's a great example of knowing your avatar. So if CrossFit is your avatar, just publish like, hey, I'm going to be at the gym this time to this time. If you're a coffee connoisseur, do a coffee tour, ask to, meet 100 people for coffee, but post that because you're out in the community, you're tagging the coffee shop, or you're tagging the CrossFit gym, or you're tagging where you're doing the cooking class so that they're cross posting. And then people that follow them are like, who is this? Who is this Marla? Who is this Carrie? And then they're following you. So that's another great point to always be collaborating when out in the community.
I love it. Any other questions for Gretchen? We're getting close to a time here. Any other questions?
And if you have questions that you were too ashamed to ask, DM me. As a true millennial, just send me a message and I'm happy to help you.
All right, Gretchen, is there anything else that I should have asked you that I failed to ask you that you would like to share?
That's a great question. No, time over task. You're not going to see results right away, but when you commit to one audience, it just undoubtedly will grow.
Hey, one more thing that I just remembered. You also are monetizing some of your expertise in OT/real estate by doing some classes and maybe even some selling some training. Can you just talk quickly about that too?
Yeah, so I'm a very ready, fire, aim person. And I hired a coach for digital marketing, and she challenged me to have a webinar on this topic. I called it Niche Down to Level Up. So being so specific on your marketing. And on the webinar, I decided to sell a course. And if nobody signed up, then I didn't have to make the course. But I sold a course before it was actually real, and 6 people signed up that day for $997. So I made $6,000 before I even built the product. And then I was forced to go build the product, and it was so much fun. And it's so fun to watch my students implement the things that I taught in the course. So I'm going back to the drawing board with that coach actually and building out more of a robust, not shoot from the hip type program. And getting the systems and back end, and that will launch probably Q1 of next year. So very exciting stuff. I've taught that 3 times, and I've never had less than 10 people in the class. And all of the people that are implementing are seeing results. There's another OT realtor in Alaska, and it is so
Don't
cool.
you have OT realtor trademarked by now?
My husband asked the same thing. I should.
All right.
But yeah, thanks for having me. This was really fun. DM me
Gretchen, I
if you guys
appreciate
have
you.
questions.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. And you guys have a great leader, and he didn't pay me to say that, but he's the best.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And folks, I'm going to send out a recording of this and a little summary of it in case you want to implement some of these things and didn't get the notes down. Next week, we're going to have Aaron Kaufman on. Aaron Kaufman is the chief stakeholder evangelist for KW, and he is passionate about attracting people to KW. His KW story is amazing, and I believe that it is important for us to learn from people like Aaron who understand the KW value proposition, quite frankly, at a very high level. So you're going to love this next week's chair chat. Also coming up, so the following week we'll be in Vail for Rocky Mountain Summit, and so we won't have the lift. The following week, Krista Staub is going to be here. She's going to talk about AI. And if you'll recall, a couple weeks ago, I taught the AI playbook, and that's kind of like an AI 101. Krista's going to be doing a little AI 201 and helping us just refine a little bit what we're doing on there. And then Jeff Yarborough is going to be here on the 7th of October. He is KW Beverly Hills top luxury agent. And he's going to talk about your KW luxury value proposition, how to get more luxury, how to appeal to luxury level clients. And I think you're going to love what he has to share on the 7th of October. Thank you all for being here today. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.